In today's live stream, I'll put a link up here. I talked about what I want to do with this tank right here. This is a 90-gallon rimless tank that I picked up from my friends over at Glass Cages. And in this tank, I have a variety of fish. I'll show them to you. The video that I released during the live stream, which talks about this subject, I rewatched it and I just didn't like it. I thought it was maybe a little bit too polished. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take the camera off of the tripod, and let's just walk around with it and do this on a more sort of live format. All right, let's turn these lights off so you can actually see the tank a little better. There we go. We'll turn this one off too. We have two filler lights. Okay, good. This is the 90-gallon, and in this tank I have a couple beautiful electric blue Ocharas, red spotted gold severum. There's a red shoulder severum back there. There's some Buenos Aires tetras, some pretty big ones. Real fat one up here. The size of that girl. Striped earth eaters, some geos. A hecali, just hanging out right up here. This is an AC hecali, a non-albino version. I'll show you the albino ones in a second. And there's also a pleco hiding in here somewhere, probably underneath this Mapani, Zoom Ed Mapani wood. And there's an SAE, a Siamese algae eater, back in there. You can see them right there. With these fish, what I'll do is I'm planning on pulling them all out and redistributing them here in the fish room. The bigger fish, the geos, the hecalis, and the severums, I'm gonna put them into the 210-gallon over here. This 210-gallon South and Central American tank. And I wanted to find out from you folks if you think that those fish would survive in here. There's a pretty good size Vieja, a couple good size Oscars, a Nicaragua, Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey, of course, going to be putting on much more size. A couple chocolates, a Salvini that's full of attitude back there. There's the second chocolate. There's a green tear, also going to be putting on a lot more size. Some silver dollars, a firemouth is always defending his territory there above the rocks. Nicaraguense, beautiful albino Oscar. But with those fish, do you think that those fish would do okay in this tank? A geo, a couple geos, a hecali, maybe even bring the Buenos Aires in here. I mean, they would certainly fit inside the mouth of this big Oscar, but I don't know, I've never seen this Oscar try and go after and eat somebody. Doesn't mean he won't. But move them all in here. And then move some of these rummy nose. Move some of the rummy nose to the 90, along with some of the Cory cats. Get some Cory cats in here, or maybe buy a whole bunch more Cory cats. But rummy nose for sure, and some of the neons, or maybe go with cardinals, since I'll be running the tank a little bit hotter. Some of the fish from this tank, move them over here to the 90. So I'll have rummy nose, neon tetras, maybe cardinals, some Cory cats, and then load this tank up with discus. Maybe start off with about between 6 and 10 small discus, knowing that discus can be finicky and that I'll probably lose 1 or 2, maybe even 3 or 4, but end up with a group of at least 6, 7 rock solid discus that can live in this 90-gallon. Now, as part of that process, this plastic plant would get removed and it would be replaced with a lot of real plants. Some of the hornwort, like you see up here, hornwort, some jungle val, some crypts, and some anubias attached to the mopani wood. And I definitely would pick up some bigger wood pieces and make it more of an ideal discus tank. I already have UV in this aquarium. It has a UV light. It has a dual hang-on back, large hang-on back filters. It's kept nice and warm by that Hydra heater back there. So I think that's about 600 or 500 watts maybe. I think this would be a nice discus environment. What do you think? Part of the equation would have to include, what do I do with the Congo tetras? I have Congo tetras in here that are going through quarantine that I picked up from Josh over at Cunningham Tropical Fish. There's some Congos in there. So would these Congos go into the 90 along with the discus? That's one question. Another question is, what about these electric blue Ocharas? Do you think I could leave them behind and have them live with the discus? Do you think electric blue Ocharas would be a little bit too aggressive? Or do you think they'd be okay with a discus? Two of them in here. Beautiful fish, in my opinion. And then I have these Ocharas here, these albino Ocharas. I think they're too small to go into the 210. So they'd probably have to come over to the 90 as well. And what do you think about albino Ocharas living with discus fish? Do you think that's a compatible match? The history I have with Ocharas tells me that they're a lot less aggressive than the red stripe earth eaters and the geos. What do you think? Do you think the Ocharas would be okay with the discus? I know when they pair up to breed, they might get a little aggressive, and certainly they might get aggressive as they put on more size, but if they get too big, like the size of the AC Hecali that is in the 90 right now, like once they get like this big right here, I would go ahead and move them over to the 210. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to work, or am I crazy? Let me know in the comments below, and any advice or tips that you can give me, especially if you've had experience with combining those kinds of fish, like combining Ocharas with discus. Have you ever combined an electric blue Ochara or an albino Hecali with discus fish? How did that go? I'd be curious. Also, what do you think about the neons versus cardinals versus rummy nose? You know, putting those in there. Maybe the Harlequin Resboras, put them in with the discus. Let me know what combinations you think would work best. Comment below. I will read them, and it'll all be part of the process. The first step, of course, will be to move the fish to the 210 and leave the 90 alone and see how they get along in there. And if it turns into something, you know, very aggressive, I'll have to, of course, pull them all out and put them back in the 90. So I would not bring the discus in probably for 6 weeks, 2 months, and first make sure everybody's going to be fine in the 210. Then start putting the plants in, start adding the jungle val, the anubias, the crypts, loading it up with plants, sprite, hornwort, so that it has a real nice extra level of filtration, right? With those plants, that'll make the aquarium extra pristine for those discus fish. It already has 2 large hang-on backs, like I said, and UV, so it has and it has a strong heater. So it's got everything that I would, and it's a very seasoned tank. It has a very well-established base of beneficial bacteria. So I'm going to be very anxious to read your comments. Your comments might be included in my next video. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Be sure to thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell if you like the channel and the video, and certainly consider becoming a member of the Garage Gang, a Patreon monthly supporter. Starts for as little as $3 a month if you want to support the channel. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.